Okay, call this Village of Greenhills regular council meeting for November 27th, 2018 to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Dries? Here. Mr. Halter? Here. Ms. Hermes?
Here.
Mr. Lee? Here. Ms. Metz?
Here.
And Ms. Walther?
Here.
And Mayor Moore?
Here. Okay, we have prayer by Mr. Dries.
Lord, thank you for your blessing on our community. We're grateful for our public servants, police, fire, streets, the administration. I pray that you'll watch over our citizens this holiday season, help council to make wise decisions. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got the minutes of November the 13th work session and October 23rd regular council meeting. Do we have any questions or any corrections?
I don't see any questions or corrections. I move to adopt the minutes.
Okay, so moved. Minutes are adopted. Okay. And this is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the lectern, give your name and address, and state your comments or questions. This is not intended to be a dialogue with council or village staff. If you have any questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Where are our people? Okay.
Thanksgiving break.
Reports of village officials, the municipal manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's been a really hectic month. But certainly one of the things that a lot of our residents went through was the loss of power when we had the ice storm. And I know, I think some of them may have been without it as long as 2.5 days. Does that sound right? But we did open a warming center, and I do want to be sure to thank Walmart, who donated the all the food and we had little activity books and stuff for the families who came. There were a number of families who did come and take advantage of it, and it was very nice. There were big thanks or thank you off to the side. They appreciated the opportunity, and I would say it was also successful for allowing them to charge up their cell phones. So anyway, it was much appreciated. So hopefully that will never happen again, but in case it does, we of course we were without power as well, so that's why we couldn't open a center any sooner. It was very cold here. It was very restrictive, obviously, in terms of what we could get done because we didn't have our computers or anything like that. But anyway, I've got that one behind us. The other thing I want to mention is last night we had the first one of our block meetings for the local historic district process. And it was the Gambier and just a small portion of Farragut and Ingram to be in with the Gambier folks. Despite the bad weather, we had 14 residents come to that, and I thought it was a very good dialogue. The mayor was there as well, and it was just nice they had an opportunity just one-on-one to be talking to Beth and answering her questions. She would put all the different categories for guidelines out in front of them and get their input, and I was just really impressed and pleased with the results. So we do another one next week. And hopefully it will be as successful. So I'll conclude my report there and answer any questions or things as legislation comes up.
Comments or questions? Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand that my report has been distributed to council, so it's there. I won't read it word for word, but I will just as one note. You'll see that there's something on there about House Bill 228, which has been referred to as the Stand Your Ground bill. The only thing, I won't go through all the details of it. It makes a lot of changes to gun law in Ohio. What I want to point out specifically for council is that there is also provision in there that essentially preempts municipalities from any kind of gun regulations, even if they're not even if they don't contradict state law. Essentially says you're out of that game. Leave it to the state. It's passed the House, it's on to the Senate, and the only other thing I'll mention is that the governor has indicated that if it passes the Senate, he's going to veto it, and then it will be, back to if they have enough votes to override the veto.
Is that the current governor? Or
Yes.
It's the current governor.
The current governor.
Yeah, so
Yes.
from a timing perspective, it's at the Senate now, we'll just have to see what happens.
Now, how much of a time does he have in the Senate? I mean, is there something that they can slow it down, go on break, come back, and
Oh.
have a new governor?
That happens all the time. I mean, it could be referred to a committee, I'm sure it's already been referred to some committee in the Senate. It can sit there for as long as they want it to sit there.
Jeff, just kind of a general question relative to the point about eliminating preempts of municipalities. I mean, that and the 5G legislation, state seems to be getting rather pushy about that
Personal,
particular
yeah.
point. I mean, do you foresee home rule coming into play at some point with pushback on that?
It is happening, certainly it is happening more and more with some of the other things that the state has done, where municipalities across the state have joined together in a couple of different lawsuits to challenge some of these state laws. I haven't seen anything about this, the Stand Your Ground bill. I do know the Ohio Municipal League has indicated that they're opposed to it as well. So the answer is yes, municipalities are joining together much more to make that challenge. We saw it, and it actually worked with the small cell facility original statute.
Till the federal government.
Right. But even before the federal government did, the state came back and made some modifications to it in a way that was much more palatable to local governments. But I think what we have found is that, yes, the state is sort of flexing that muscle more, but that municipalities have realized the only way really to fight it is to join together to do it, because it's
Yeah.
too overwhelming, too expensive for one city to take on that kind of thing. So we've seen it at least twice in the last couple of years where they did it with the centralized collection on municipal income tax. So yeah, they are getting together to make that argument more.
Okay. Acting Clerk of Council, David Lumsden.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. The resolutions 2018-32, 2018-33, and 2018-34 were posted as required, along with the November community calendar. Thank you.
Chief of Police, Neil Fertelman.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, the members of the department are sincerely thankful to our residents and the community who approved our recent police levy by a significant margin. And we pledge to continue to excel in providing dependable and professional service to our community. And we, as I mentioned, are very grateful and say thank you. Since our last report, we served a search warrant in our F section that was extremely productive from the terms of property that was recovered and clearing some cases. It resulted in 3 arrests, the recovery of most of the stolen property, and the confiscation of drugs and drug paraphernalia. Sadly, the primary suspect was a 17-year-old juvenile who was charged with 5 counts of receiving stolen property and 5 counts of criminal mischief. There was an adult charged with additional counts of receiving stolen property and drug possession, and the property renter there was charged with 1 count of drug abuse. During the course of the investigation, we discovered that about 2 a.m. The day before, the primary suspect entered approximately 7 motor vehicles, mostly on the east side, and took numerous items of stolen property, including cash and prescription pills. He subsequently spent the money to buy drugs and consumed the drugs that were taken. He told us he was an opioid addict. He was transported to the juvenile detention center. The adult was taken to jail, and the property renter was cited to court. During the execution of the search warrant, we took pills, driver's licenses, credit cards, debit cards, health insurance cards, social security cards, a wallet, a purse, a knife, cell phones, ammunition, an iPad, a bulletproof vest that was taken from a law enforcement officer from another jurisdiction, and shoes. There was a lot of investigative work that went into this. We were fortunate that a large amount of the stolen property was recovered and was returned to owners after the prosecutor's office returned its release. I'm very proud of the work of Sergeant Tim Lukes, Corporal Brian Johnston, police officers Tony Patton, Andy Moore, Rob Lenhoff, Philip Means, and Cody Ritchie, who all received commendations for excellent police work. The lesson to be learned here for anyone that might be tuning in is to please lock your vehicles, remove valuable property from plain sight to avoid being the victim of a crime. We had an attempted abduction case that was closed after making the news. It was a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. They had been driving around Greenhills, what they called pranking people by asking what they called funny stuff. As an example, they asked several residents, and you can't make this stuff up, where in the haberdashery hemoglobin is Burley Circle. They were intending to post the videos to YouTube to imitate some that had already been posted. They were suspects who approached an 11-year-old who lives in the B section, scared the heck out of him. He was riding his bike. They admitted that they did speak to the young boy and said, aye, bro, come here real fast, before he fled on his bicycle. We spoke with the two suspects. We reviewed section 290505 of the Ohio Revised Code, which reads, no person by any means and without privilege to do so shall knowingly solicit, coax, entice, or lure any child under 14 years of age to accompany the person in any manner. I read that and I thought we were golden. We're always very cautious, so we double-checked with the prosecutor's office. And I talked to one of the prosecutors who said, let me just check. I think there was some recent Supreme Court action on that. We found out that that particular law had been ruled unconstitutional, was being overly broad by the Ohio Supreme Court. That was in 2014. Unbelievably, the legislature in 2016 revised that law, so I'm thinking, oh, we're good. They left the unconstitutionally overbroad section in there. So we have made several contacts with members of the legislature and hope to get that updated in the next session. My fear is that we rely on the latest online version of the Ohio Revised Code published by the state, and an officer at 9 o'clock at night that doesn't have the luxury of checking with the prosecutor's office like we did during the day could go ahead and invoke an incorrect portion of law. So we've asked both our law director and our prosecutor to keep us apprised of any rulings that they hear, and they have both promised to do so. We did a lot of training last month. We had all of our supervisory staff, including Lieutenant Ward, Sergeant Lukes, Corporal Johnson, and me. We were all guests of the Butler County Sheriff, Rick Jones, who invited us to attend executive leadership training at Miami University's Voice of America Training Center in Westchester. A recently retired police chief by the name of Harry Dolan, who has led several exemplary police agencies, gave an all-day presentation. It was excellent training. It was probably the cost of about $400 a head, so it was a real bargain for us, and excellent training. We also, more recently on November 16th, sent Officer Zach Clark, Rob Lenhoff, Phil Means, and Cody Ritchie to all-day training on tactics and traffic, and it dealt with the risks faced by officers during traffic stops, how to safely and properly conduct them, and it was conducted by one of our own Greenhills Police alumni who went on to Springfield Township and is now the Hamilton Township Police Chief, and that's Scott Hughes. We had a couple of good things to report to you. The Christmas spirit has already struck early. We had on November 10th a Greenhills resident who posted on Nextdoor Greenhills about the need for baby items for her child. A concerned resident came specifically to her aid and immediately brought us a check to address her needs. On November 13th, we took her shopping at our local Dollar General store and bought diapers, baby wipes, baby clothes, a teething ring, milk, food, and a blanket for her and for her baby. She commented later on Nextdoor, the police officers came to my house today and talked to me saying that an anonymous person wanted to help me. Tell whoever donated that I appreciate it so much. In addition to that, a Greenhills family donated Thanksgiving dinner to a needy family. And another Greenhills family just last week donated $1,000 to our community fund. We're just overwhelmed with the generosity of the residents of this community. And as our manager has already mentioned, we were able to help our residents by turning this chambers into a warming center when power was out, and we had a warm room, treats, other food, and food equipment that was also generously donated, as Yvonne already mentioned, by Walmart. And we had a community member that donated that nice microwave, Mr. Halter, that you just carried out. In addition to that, we got a couple of thank yous that I thought might interest you. From a resident who said, I went into Ameristop. Upon coming out to my car, I realized that I left my keys in my car. I panicked, and then I thought my Greenhills Police Department would help me out. I went back into the store and called police. Andy Moore came and helped me. He was professional and kind, got into my car immediately. I am so proud of this community and our services. Plus, I voted early and voted for the police levy. You do a great job, thank you. Then from a Woodlawn police sergeant, on Tuesday, November 6th, I was traveling home from work, southbound on Winton Road. There was a vehicle traveling northbound on Winton without the headlights on. The vehicle then crossed the double yellow line and nearly struck another vehicle head on. I made a U-turn to catch up with the vehicle so I could have someone stop the car. I was able to get behind the vehicle northbound on Winton at Valley View. I switched over to the Greenhills Police Band and was able to get in touch with Sergeant Tim Lukes. As we continued to travel northbound on Winton, the driver of the vehicle was drifting back and forth between both lanes and nearly struck the curb several times. Sergeant Lukes got behind the vehicle, made a traffic stop on Winton and Sharon. The driver of the vehicle was an elderly man who told Sergeant Lukes that he was lost. The driver stated he was trying to get back home and did not know how to get there. Sergeant Lukes then advised the dispatch he would be out of service taking the elderly driver home. From the sounds of the radio traffic, it appeared to me they transported this gentleman along with his vehicle back to his residence. I just wanted you to know I thought it was outstanding service provided by your officers. Lastly, during the month of October, we investigated 4 accidents, which is down from 6 in October of 17. 4 crimes, down from 8 the previous year. 149 other incidents of a total of 166 contacts. 39 were dispatched or received by phone as compared to 273 last October. 127 of those were self-initiated by our officers. The department made 26 criminal arrests and 26 traffic arrests. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Comments or questions?
I do have a question of the chief. Just curious, when the power goes out, do we have some kind of backup for police?
No, and we need that.
No, and we need one.
Okay. Seems like,
We're discussing
We were
that.
worried our flashlights wouldn't last that long.
okay, so that's good to know. And just one clarification, when you said I was carrying the microwave out, I carried it into the hallway and put it on the shelf, not out the...
And it's still available for use unless that resident wants it back.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mayor's report. I have the September court report for the state, or for the county. The county received $33, the state of Ohio $885.30, and the village of Greenhills $4,675.70. One of these days we'll maybe get more court reports once we get the computer system straightened out that half the county uses. So that's basically all I have, although I'd like to thank the residents for supporting the police levy. That's it. We will be out judging Christmas lights. We need to set a date. I have one volunteer already. Are you interested? Anybody else interested? Well, at the end of this meeting, we'll pick a date and see if anybody wants to join us. Okay.
I have a 4-year-old who might be interested in
Oh,
helping
yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that would be good.
that'd be good.
I know she's very opinionated.
She is. That she is.
You know,
I wonder who she's,
I don't know where she gets that.
you put the two of us in the back seat.
Okay. Committee reports, Finance and Audit, Glenn Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have the October financials done. Year-to-date, income tax revenues are up 6.53%, and real estate taxes received is also up about 6%. General fund revenues year-to-date are up 5%. The fund balance in the general fund, which is an important kind of marker that we use to look at our financial strength, as compared to last year, is down $57,000, but well within what we had planned for our budget. The 2018 general fund balance is $1,197,000. On the expense side, year-to-date, expenses are $1,973,000. We have spent 78% of the appropriation for this year, which puts us right on track. Our transfers are less than projected year-to-date. As far as appropriations, I'll have a resolution tonight for an additional appropriation and an additional resolution that's not an appropriation. And then we're working on the 2019 appropriations.
Okay. Comments or questions? Okay, Recreation, Cable TV, Maria Walther.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank all our neighbors, the pioneers of this village, the way that they help each other in the moment of need. I have discussed with Mr. Mayor the fact that we need a generator. We need to have that a discussion on a work session at some point in time. This is the center of the village, the pulse of it, and I think that if this were to happen again, we need to have the backup for it. I also would like to especially give very heartfelt thanks to our service department. They were out there at the break of dawn, in the dark, in the cold, whatever it was, cutting into smaller pieces, huge pieces of trees that had fallen off. My hat goes out to her, to the whole department, to the whole help that they provided to the village. I would like to also thank Chief for providing the warm room, putting the tables, the chairs, and everything.
Joint effort.
Okay, and Mrs. Kovac went with me to Walmart. We all went together there and did the shopping. And so it was a very nice experience. And I think that in the future, if we were to have the same thing happening, I know Mr. Mayor has a lot of neighbors that receive his help, and so everybody else went out to their way to help everybody else. So I have my heart totally warmed, filled with warmth by the outpour of generosity and help from this village. Also want to thank everybody for voting for our police levy. It was not a surprise at all. We had really come to them many times when we are in tremendous need. We put our best efforts forth. We tell them how it is, and they decide by themselves to go and vote for the levy. And thank you very much to all of you. I had yesterday two reports to give to you, the two meetings that I did. One was with the staff having to do with the Harvest Fest. And believe it or not, we are already starting for the next year's Harvest Fest. It's not something that we do lightly and we do it in 3 months or anything like that. No, the first meeting is going to be in January already for starting forward to that those plannings. We have some suggestions that we received. Almost all of them were very positive because they really enjoyed this time. It was a lot of more choices for them to shop. They were very, very happy, and we also received some kind of a very quick feedback from the people that have the booths and how much they enjoyed it, whether they were going to perhaps coming back, and it was a very large priority, yes, they would. And we had different other questions, whether or not would affect their choice if we were to move to the Commons, and almost all of them responded that if they were at the Commons where they were more visible, they would be very happy to attend again. After that, I proceed on to finishing the meeting with the staff, then to have a committee meeting for recreation. We set the dates for the committee meetings for next year. It's March the 4th, June the 10th, September the 9th, and December the 9th at 9 a.m. in the village office. Right now, we had something that was started by the Recreation Commission, then it kind of crossed over into the Recreation Committee and Streets and Services, etc. But there is going to be a survey going out. We are even planning to put it door by door. Are we going to knock at the door and wait for an answer or not?
We're discussing different options for distributing it, trying to get
Okay.
it out. That's one of the options.
Whatever
we could
it gets to you, please take it very seriously. We really want to know what you want, what your needs are, and what your wants are. There are two different columns in there, but if we had something, would you be part of it? Would you take part of it? We have never had so much of input on that, and we would really appreciate you, to all of you, to respond back to that survey. We will have, furthermore, the specific dates when that is ready to go on the next meeting, most likely, so that we will be able to inform them in December. Mrs. Metz here is my co-chair for the Recreation Committee, and we are, I don't know, she hit the ground running, and I kind of pushed her a little bit too, so we are up front and running. I would like to also let you know that we have set the dates for the calendar for the village for things happening with recreation, when the days at the pool are going to be. We want to have another item in July to be arranged. We are having the dates for the egg hunt and all of that, and with the help of the village manager, we will have it on the paper on the month of January, so people could have that cut out and put it on the refrigerator and know what's coming along for their entertainment. We have designed, again, the same situation for the pool, the day of the pool, the membership day, but we decided that one was in June, one was in August, and we had a little niche in July to do something else, and we had been talking back and forth and see what we can come up with. We were concerned that not all the citizens in the village belong to the pool to take part of the membership day. Not all of them necessarily would go to the pool just for the day of the pool from the village. So we were trying to target another group of people that we would like to do something for them as well. So please bear with us, and we will let you know as soon as possible. And with that, I conclude my report. And again, thank you so much to everybody that contributed and helped thy neighbor in this situation.
Any comments or questions?
Any update on pickleball court?
We had, that's part is going to be on that survey. And we ask the possible things that we don't have, that we could have. And we also ask in that survey whether or not if we would have it, would you use it? Okay. So we're waiting for that to come back. I did get a reply back from Mr. Pickleball himself, and I forwarded to the mayor and to the village manager. And his suggestion was, if we were to do it, most of the communities, most of the areas have started by having only 2 courts. And those can be very easily cleaned, prepared, and that would be the ones closest to the pool area, not the ones where the batting cages were. and he gave an estimate with that. And like I said, I forward that directly to the village manager and to Mr. Mayor, and I believe I forward that to you as well after you got sworn in. Okay, so I think everybody involved in
Okay.
monies, direction of the village, recreation, we all continue to go forth with that idea if the results back prove that that's something that is sought after.
All right. Thank you.
All right, moving on, community development, Jeff Halder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We were scheduled to have a meeting on 11/21 last week, and we needed to postpone that. We still need to set up a date for the next one, which we'll get back to everybody about. Going to be handing over computer files to the selected vendor for our new signage. It's pretty exciting, and there's a window that they are going to complete that in with
6 to 8 weeks.
yeah, so 6 to 8 weeks, we should have new signage, and that I think will bode well for our National Historic Landmark designation and bring some good attention to the village. Also, I'm excited about the new proposed shopping center sign that we're looking at, and that's another thing to make more people aware of the businesses. And just a shout out to we have some really good businesses down at the shopping center and throughout the village, even the Alzheimer's Center and such. So I just encourage people to support those local businesses. It's very easy to drive down to what appears to be greener pastures or elsewhere, but keep in mind that supporting your local business is a big part of keeping our shopping center vibrant and moving it in the right direction. So that concludes my report.
Comments, questions?
I just wanted to make the remark that while the Troubadour was closed for the holiday, a lot of people from Greenhills, we suddenly found ourselves at Starbucks,
Okay.
coming, holding the door, coming and going and filling up the place, and it's kind of like, we went there and we opened, tried to keep pulling, and the door didn't open, it was closed, and then we read the sign. So,
I knew they were visiting a grandchild of theirs, and
Yeah.
they deserve the break,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, service and streets, Natasha Metz.
I also want to echo Maria's thanks to the service department. I was one of those residents that was out of power for 2.5 days. So I really appreciate all the work that's been done by the entire village, the room that was set up and everything for everybody. So thanks for that. We had our meeting on November 14th and talked about a variety of things. The survey that Maria spoke about was actually delayed because of the power outage. So that's still in the works of being headed out there. But yes, the entire point of the survey is to give us a better understanding of the current and the projected utilization of any of our recreation, any of our services, wants, needs, as well as current utilization of pool, golf course, everything. So let us know that feedback so we can better map our next few years to give what the residents need. Landscaping bids, have those gone out then?
Not yet.
Okay, they're in the process, going to be going out. And then also, I'll just pass this around. We are going to be applying for the Ohio Municipal League Warranty Program. It's no cost to us. It simply allows them to offer a warranty program to the residents. They can opt in or not, whatever they like. It offers reimbursement for larger projects that they may not have the funds for. And so all the explanation is in here, and we just have to basically apply for it, and then they present it to the residents, and if you want this, you sign up for it. It's another insurance policy, basically.
and once you sign for it, did it cost anything after you sign off with it?
I believe there is a premium for the residents, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's their choice if they want to
Okay.
opt into that program or not.
How did you find out about that?
We get notice every couple years is what I've been told, and so
Yeah.
this year, I just took a look at it and I decided,
Municipal
okay.
league said
yeah,
that-
why not, let's dive in.
Any comments, questions? All right, safety, Melanie Hervey's.
Our safety committee did meet today. Councilmember Glenn Dries, Mayor Moore, Manager Kovac, Chief Froderman, and Chief Spaeth were all in attendance. We did talk over some items with the fire chief. The first one will come up in a few minutes when I bring up a resolution for the fire contract to continue it for the next 3 years. We also talked about the fire dependency fund. At the next, we'll have to appoint 2 council members in January. Currently, council members Dries and Lee are both on the committee, so if they were willing to do it again, we'd be bringing it up again in January. If they're willing to do it again.
I think we just said yes.
Oh, good. Chief Spaeth also let us know that both the fire trucks have been sold, both for $12,000. One, the rescue truck was sent to Georgia to a private company, and the engine went to Independence, Kentucky, another local government. So that is good news that we have freed up some space over at our fire department and gotten some money for it. The hydrant program has been done. There are a few minor repairs that need to be done. Obviously, they did not check the fire hydrants for the new water main program, so that that will be addressed as the new water main project gets done. We did talk about the turkey raffle. Chief Spaeth mentioned that the attendance at the actual event has decreased in the last couple of years, so they'll be looking at ways to reimagine it for 2019, so be on the lookout for new information, or if you have any suggestions, put them on the survey card when you get it or when you complete the survey. He also mentioned some of the emergency lights are missing, and so Manager Kovac, these are the ones like at the end of our street. We used to have poles across that had the emergency lighting on it, so you could see when emergency vehicles were leaving the station, or when the volunteer firefighters were actually responding to the station to go out on calls. So Manager Kovac is looking at that. He mentioned that our fire roster is currently at 40 members, which is great. That we have, the fire department has submitted for a fire grant for their SCBA, including a compressor and fill station. Hopefully we'll know by the end of January whether we have received it. It's a $175,000 project. So we are cautiously optimistic that this grant will be awarded to us. And part of the grant, whether we get the grant or not, when we do go out for SCBA gear, we talked about possibly going in with other local departments to get some economies of scale. Typically, the SCBA gear would cost about $7,000 per unit. Thank you. And if we go in with someone else, possibly like Chlorine Township or anybody else, we'd be able to get a discount. Obviously, when you're ordering in quantity, even a little bit of a discount goes a long way. We also discussed the radios, and the radios that we have continue to work. They're doing great, but possibly phasing in new radios over the next few years, just as technology has increased over the years. Just getting newer ones and getting it updated would be great. And also, Chief Froderman mentioned that he'll be on the lookout for deals as well, because the police department purchases 2 new radios a year. So he'll convey any kind of information he has over to Chief Spaeth when he has it as well, so that they both can be utilizing great deals when they find them. In addition, we talked about the emergency dispatching fees will increase from the county. It's going to increase to $3 per dispatch, and that number we pay based on the average calls per year over the past 3 years. This is a little bit disappointing, as that cost is going to hit us. It's going to hit all the local communities, so obviously we're not in favor of the increase, and we have expressed our concern to Hamilton County. Then we also went over the police monthly report. I won't re-go over that, as Chief Froderman did a great job of going over it. And some people have noticed that, and was alluded to by Mayor Moore, that PAMET, we are part of the PAMET, but the data recovery is underway currently. We do not have another meeting for the remainder of this year. We will set up a schedule at the beginning of next year for when our committees will meet, our committee will meet again. I do want to thank the voters for passing the police levy. Thank you so much, and it looked like we had a great turnout. It's very nice when we have a good turnout, just because we know the higher the turnout, the more we're hearing from you. So hearing from the residents and finding out and doing what the residents want is why we're up here. So thank you for the great turnout. I guess my other little safety spiel will be the holidays are underway. A lot of people are ordering stuff from the internet, and they're being delivered. So be on the lookout for you and your neighbors. We haven't had an issue yet, but I heard about in neighboring communities where some packages were stolen from porches. So just be on the lookout for you and your neighbors. If you do have something like a Ring device, keep the video for a couple of days. That might be helpful if something does happen, not to you, but to someone else as well. I did talk to a local postal carrier at my work, and he said that I made a comment, and he's like, yeah, just make sure you have a Ring. Apparently that's discouraging for people and residents, or it's also handy for finding out where your packages went to. I know when we got a package, they do ring the doorbell, the postal carrier. That activates, the motion activates it, but the ringing of the doorbell activates it for a little bit longer as well. So it's just a nice little tool to have. So if you have one, just keep your video for a few days, just in case.
Comments or questions?
I have a question. I have not asked this for a long time, but would like to know if they have the masks for rescue for dogs and cats, if they are in good condition, or if they need to have that repurchased, or...
I do not know, but I will send an email out to Chief Spaeth and see what the status. I know that we did at one point have
Yes.
Air masks,
Yes.
rescue masks for our animal companions in case of a fire, so that is something I will ask.
Okay. Great. Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our committee had an abbreviated meeting yesterday to get out of Maria's way. And we really just had two short subjects. One was we're going ahead and drafting some amended wording relative to shopping center signage, just a minor change, but one that we feel is needed. It'll come through as a recommendation from council to the planning commission, and they'll review it and so on and so forth. So that should be coming forth in the future. The other thing that was taken up was doing an amendment to the rules of council relative to Rule 12, which is the custody of records. Specifically, this is relative to the books, code books, being pared down to a number of 6, so that they are easier to maintain, and since most of us use the online version. But according to the current rules of council, under Rule 39, the rules of council may be amended, provided notice of the intended amendment shall be given on the floor of council at the previous regular meeting. A majority of all members elected shall be required for the adoption of such amendment. So you've been duly noticed. So, and that will come forward at the next meeting. Gosh, there was something else I had, but
Okay,
Was
any questions?
next meeting date or? Okay.
Really, no meetings are planned for December at this point. So,
Okay.
Now,
All
you,
right.
you mentioned that most people use the online version. How often is the online updated?
Quarterly.
Which is more often than the hard
the
copies?
books were once a year,
Once a
yeah.
year, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Old business. We have an ordinance 2018-09-LNR, for the second reading. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a point of clarification in addressing the amendment of the current ordinance. Does the entire ordinance need to be read or just the
No.
changes?
Now, actually, because this is an ordinance,
Yes,
It-
you do not.
it can be read by title only,
Yes.
with an explanation of the changes if you'd like. Resolutions have to be read in their entirety.
Hey, no.
Ordinances can be read by title only, if a motion to that effect is addressed by council.
Make a motion to read ordinance 2018-9 LNR by title only.
Second.
That's very popular.
Do we need a roll call or
Just all in favor.
all in favor?
Aye. Since we all
Opposed?
seconded it.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, ordinance 2018-09-LNR, amending section 377.02 of Greenhills Codified Ordinance regarding the inspection of golf carts.
Move to,
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept the amendment to the ordinance.
Okay, do we have a
Second.
Okay.
Uh,
Now you.
No. Essentially, what this does is adds wording in section B, section 1B, adding this additional wording that if an owner-operator of a golf cart being submitted for inspection is a non-resident of the village, that the fee for the inspection is $50 in comparison to $25 for a resident. And then there were, under section 1D, a sticker may be renewed annually upon payment of the appropriate fee. Previously inspected golf carts need not be inspected each year unless there's been a change to the vehicle. And under section 2, section 2C, relative to the child restraint criteria, was amended.
Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Drees?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 2018-09-LNR passes. Next, resolution 2018-35 SNS, resolution authorizing assessments of certain properties in the village of Greenhills. Ms. Metz.
Okay, resolution number 2018-35-SNS, resolution authorizing assessments on certain properties in the village of Green Hills. Whereas the village has given proper notice to the owners of certain real property in the village of Green Hills regarding the removal of vegetation, refuse, garbage, and/or debris from the properties listed below, and whereas the owners of said properties did not take action to remedy the violations, and therefore the village of Green Hills contracted to remove vegetation, refuse, garbage, and/or debris, and now seeks to collect said expenses by authorizing the placement of a lien upon the lands and collected as other taxes. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Green Hills, Ohio, Section 1, that the Village Council hereby certifies that the cost of such labor, together with the expenses relative thereto, be filed on the return and statement to the Hamilton County Commissioners as an assessment against the properties listed and placed as a lien against the properties by the Auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio, as follows. Parcel number 597-0080-0038-00,
address of 11 Bachman Street, owner of Ward, David Jeffrey, at a cost of $106.67. Parcel number 597-0080-0105-00, address of 57 Burley Circle, owner of Spa, Timothy and Sherry, at a cost of $259.67. Parcel 597-0030-0009-00, address of 42 Farragut Road, owner of Spa, Timothy and Sherry, at $105.67. And parcel number 597-0030-0114-00, address of 22 Hadley Road, owner Homebridge Financial Services, Inc., cost of $156.67, for a total cost of $628.68. Section 2, all amounts collected as a result of this resolution shall be placed into the general fund of the Village of Greenhills. Section 3, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage. I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walton?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2018-35-S&S passes. Next resolution, 2018-36-F, resolution making supplemental appropriations. Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2018-36F, a resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers, whereas the 2018 annual appropriations that were adopted on December 12, 2017 are to be amended, and whereas the appropriations must not exceed the total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.36A5. Therefore, an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, since certain actions are needed and the monies appropriated so to permit the Village of Greenhills to meet its fiscal obligations for the year 2018, the following items of expenditure are to supplement the appropriations for expenditure for the year 2018. Fund description solicitor appropriation $33,353.50, change $10,000, total $43,353.50. Section 2, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt this resolution.
Second?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All right, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walton?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2018-36-F passes. Next resolution, 2018-37-L, authorizing municipal manager to enter into agreement with Wood and Lamping for law director services. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2018-37-L, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Wood and Lamping for law director services. Whereas the Village of Greenhills utilizes the legal services of Wood and Lamping, and whereas it is time for the contract with Wood and Lamping to be renewed. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio. Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into the attached agreement with Wood and Lamping for the period beginning January 1, 2019, and the successive one-year periods thereafter through 2021. Section 2, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Wood and Lamping the monthly retainer and payment for services as outlined in the agreement. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second. Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a problem with this on the, just on the pure knowledge that I don't have right now if an evaluation has been conducted to grant a a contract that is going to go through January the 1st, 2019, all the way to 2021. To my knowledge, there has not been an evaluation, and I just wonder if this could be just tabled to the next month and have an evaluation then enter and at that time.
Okay, we talked about that. What we decided something, but I forgot what it was.
I know we've evaluated them every couple years, and we talked about, I don't think we realized that the contract was up when it was up. I thought we talked about it in January, and I guess
Yes,
the timing, we just,
The
we
discussion
didn't
we had
discuss
on
the
the
timing.
discussion that we had on the work session was that we had time to do the evaluation at the beginning of the year. So this caught me by surprise that it's already
We
been.
did do an evaluation last January of the law director. Is that what you're?
Yes, but not for the contract that we had now, but not for the next one.
Well, the previous contract was a 3-year contract. This is just a renewal of that 3-year contract.
I think Maria has a legitimate point that we may have this not synchronized correctly, but I'm going to support this legislation because we have 30 days where we could modify or amend this contract if it wasn't, if there were any concerns. I'm unaware of any concerns, but there is a provision in here that we have the ability to modify it with 30 days' notice, so. And I just read that now.
And this is the, last contract was the first time that we had switched out with the prosecution, and
Right.
so I guess a status update, it seems like it's working from my point of view. So I just want to, I think just the timing, I don't think we were in sync, I guess, is the best thing that can be said about when the contract was up and the evaluation. So I also, I agree that the contract looks good, and I've valued the service we've gotten over the past more than 3 years. So I'm in favor of continuing it, but yes, I do think we need to, as council, do a better job of syncing up our evaluation or period with our renewal period.
Is there any way
Okay.
that to have an evaluation done before the end of the year, or do we put on file so that would appear a little bit more in sync?
How do you want to do it?
I have no problem voting today for this, as long as there's an evaluation going to be happening within the next 30 days.
So the evaluation was previous work accomplished, not?
Correct.
But how would you evaluate future work? In other
Well,
words,
No, it's
suggestions of what to do, and the last time it was his input having to do with us when he gave us our laws, information, changes, etc. And that was one that was very well done, very welcome and all that. I just wonder if there's something else that we need to add to. We haven't had a chance
Okay.
to discuss that.
Okay, that was
What does
something.
what does that have to do with the contract? That's what I'm asking.
Well, usually it's
Okay.
customary to have something on file as an evaluation before you grant a contract.
Well, we have done that evaluation every year, even with a contract in place. This is simply a renewal of the contract.
Let's get-
We haven't
let's
done
get-
it for this year, so I think what Councilmember Walther is suggesting is just to make sure we have the evaluation done this year, like we have done every year.
Well, we did it last year in January
January.
for the prior year.
Okay.
So let's do it this January for the prior year. And how about you and Jack doing the evaluation?
so, and I just want a clarification. So the evaluation's an annual evaluation, correct?
Yes.
So I am with Jack trying to understand the contract piece unless there was an issue on the previous evaluation. So next year will be 1 year, if things proceed, 1 year into this contract. And we still will do an evaluation. Year 2, we will do another annual evaluation. So I would think if there's an issue, there's provision to address that issue.
Maybe we should address the timing of it so that we're at least having it closer to the renewal before it instead of after it. But that's the only thing I can think of, like making sure it's,
I mean, it doesn't hurt to be thorough. so-
yes.
I am happy to meet with all of you, however you'd like to do it, whenever you'd like to do it.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
can
you
tell
will.
you, when it comes to the timing of this, I'll just, maybe this is where some of the confusion came in. The prior contract actually expired, I think, back in October, September. And at my request, just because of all of our municipal clients, we're just trying to get them all on January 1 start dates. I actually, Yvonne and I talked about this, and I said, I'll just leave my current rates in place for October, November, December, so that we could do a January 1 start date of the new rates. So if that messed things up or complicated things, I apologize. I didn't think anyone would mind 3 extra
Do
months
something in December?
at the
Wait till
old,
January.
at the old rate.
So in
I-
essence, we had an evaluation without a contract in place, right? Which is fine, because the,
For what
fine.
it's worth, calling this a contract is kind of a misnomer. I serve at the pleasure of council. You guys can do whatever you want, whenever you want. All this does is set the rate. It sets the fee schedule
Yep.
for that period of time. So
Okay.
that's all it
Thank
was
you for
really about.
summarizing.
That's why we just left the existing rate
Sure.
schedule in place.
that helps, thank you.
I would be happy to meet sometime in December or in January, whatever is more convenient for everyone's schedule, and we can go offline and look at our calendars after the meeting opposed to
Sure.
Okay.
right now.
All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Trees?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2018-37-L passes. Next resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment, if I could
Oh.
interject it. I just hope that we're as rigorous with some of our other contracted services, just to make sure that it's running well, which would be pool services, zoning approval, our zoning outfit that goes around and checks too. So I think we need to be due diligence and make sure we're doing that across the board. So, thank you.
Got that? All right. She'll take care of it. And then this will be scheduled either for this month or January.
Well, for December or
December.
January.
Yes, that's right. For
Yeah.
Still
November.
November.
Okay, next thing, resolution 2018-38-F, authorizing municipal manager enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Greaves.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2018-38F, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio. Whereas the Village of Greenhills provides health insurance benefits for all eligible employees, and whereas the village has utilized Horan Associates to request and review proposals for health insurance coverage from various carriers and determined that the proposal submitted by Anthem is the best proposal for the Village of Greenhills in terms of quality, service, and adaptability, and reflects a continuation of the current plans. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Anthem for the purpose of providing health insurance for eligible employees for the term of January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. Section 2, that the village will continue to offer a dual option plan and will pay the same employer contribution dollar amount for both plans. The dollar amount is based on 80% of the highest priced premium plan. Section 3, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Anthem monthly premiums totaling an annual amount of approximately $110,000, said amount fluctuating depending on the number of persons enrolled in the plan. Section 4, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
How'd it fare?
I'm sorry.
How'd it go? What,
Very good, it's a 4.8% increase. We were very surprised and very pleased. Very happy.
that's great.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Drews?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2018-38F passes. Next resolution, 2018-39-S, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with the Greenhills Fire Department Service Department. Hermes.
Mr. Mayor, I have resolution number 2018-39S, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with the Greenhills Fire Services Department. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into the attached agreement with the Greenhills Fire Department for the period beginning January 1st, 2019, and successive one-year periods thereafter through 2023. Section 2, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay the Greenhills Fire Department for services as outlined in the agreement. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
So this is just a resolution agreeing upon the fees, correct? Yeah.
No.
Yes. Never mind.
No.
Okay.
This is a contract for fire and emergency protection.
I do want to make a comment. I've said this many times on many occasions, and it still is a true fact today. The best value in all of Hamilton County government is the Greenhills Fire Department. We have 40 members right now. None of them have ever received a dime for any of the work that they do. It is an incredible bargain to this community, and quite frankly, if we didn't have the Greenhills Fire Department and their spirit of volunteerism, we would not have a fire department in Greenhills. We would contract with somebody else. The $130,000 that they get each year for fire services pays for training, pays for all the light bill across the way there. It pays for new equipment outside of fire engines and ambulances. It's an amazing bargain, and quite frankly, I wish that we could do more for them. And you know, when you talk to them, they'd like to just hear thank you and support at the turkey raffle and things like that. So this is the easiest thing that we vote for all year, in my opinion. It's a phenomenal deal for us, and I wholeheartedly support this resolution.
I agree 1,000%.
Yep. Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Drews?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Resolution 2018-39-S passes. Next resolution, 2018-40-CD, authorizing the municipal manager to execute and accept a sign easement from the First Baptist Church of Greenhills for the placement of a village entryway sign. Mr. Halter.
At the risk of being redundant, I have resolution number 2018-40CD, authorizing the municipal manager to execute and accept a sign easement from the First Baptist Church of Greenhills for the placement of a village entryway sign. Whereas the village is interested in placing new entryway signage at various locations near our borders with neighboring communities, and whereas at the north end of the village, property belonging to the First Baptist Church of Greenhills is a desirable location for an entryway sign, and whereas the First Baptist Church of Greenhills is willing to grant the village an easement for the placement of an entryway sign, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute and accept from the First Baptist Church of Greenhills an easement in the form that is attached in Exhibit A. Section 2, that the resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. I move, Mr. Mayor, that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
Okay. Comments or questions?
I'm very excited for this.
I know. I'm glad I don't have to read the 14 pages that accompany it.
Can you read the picture?
I can't.
All right, clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walton?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2018-40-CE passes. And thankfully, this is the last resolution, and I'm glad that all these resolutions were relatively short resolutions. This one is Resolution 2018-41-F, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2019 pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 321.34. Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2018-41F, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2019 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 321.34, whereas the Ohio Revised Code allows a taxing authority to request payment from the county auditor funds derived from taxes or other sources to the county treasurer, which may be held on account of a location subdivision. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, the auditor and the treasurer of Hamilton County, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 321.34, be required to withdraw and pay to the Village of Greenhills upon the written request of the Finance Director, Deborah Heimer, to the county auditor, funds due in any settlement of 2019 derived from taxes or other sources payable to the county treasurer, to the account of the Village of Greenhills and lawfully applicable for purposes of the current fiscal year. Section 2, Clerk of Council of the Village of Greenhills be and hereby is directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the Auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of Resolution 2018-41F.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
This just is a resolution requesting that when we ask for our money, they send it to us.
Good. So they don't settle.
That's
All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walton?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 2018-41-F passes. All right. And somebody want to make a motion to go into executive session?
Do we want to do calendar first?
I make a motion to do calendar first.
Okay, let's do calendar. Right. All in favor? Or do we need a roll call to do calendar?
You can just do it.
No. Do it. Okay.
We'll be judging the holiday lights. Be on the lookout for when we're going to do it.
Maybe once we get the date, we can give it to Yvonne, she can put it on the headline news, and then maybe we can do one call.
And if someone would graciously post it on Nextdoor,
Yeah.
people can get it that way as well.
Okay.
December 7th is Light Up Green Hills, 6:30 on the Village Common. I have spoken to Santa Claus. He will be arriving shortly after 6:30. He has an unlisted number, so don't try and get it from me. Every year, we've tried to expand this and do something new, something different. We've added food trucks, we've added ornament decorations, we've added music, we've added bonfire, we've added ice carving, we've added a lot of things, and those all are things that will happen this year. But we've added something this year that I'm truly very excited about, because I think it captures the spirit of the season and the spirit of our community. This year, we're going to have a toy drive. This will benefit children in our community. We're collecting new, unwrapped, unopened toys for children 4 to 8 years of age. And this will start, it's already started, and it will end December 7th. During Light Up Greenhills, there's a donation box in the lobby at the administration. There'll also be a donation box at Light Up next to the ornament booth. If you donate, you can also enter a drawing for door prizes of gift certificates from local restaurants, as well as a $100 gift certificate to Bargains and Buyouts. So there's a little motivation for your generosity. So we've had great turnouts in the past. It's very family friendly. We'll have horse-drawn carriage, and for those of you that got there late and had to wait in a long line, we have this same wagon that we had at Harvest Fest, so we'll be able to move that line quicker. So I'm just super excited about it for this year. And so that again is December 7th at 6:30. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your neighbors. It'll be a great night.
Streets and Services meeting December 10th at 9 a.m. Hopefully we will have some survey results back to give us an idea.
The Waycross Community Programming Board will meet on Wednesday, December 12th. And then, Yvonne, if you know of any, the offices will be closed on Christmas Day, and they will also be closed on New Year's Day, but make sure to look for office holiday closings. They'll also be closed, the offices will be closed on Christmas Eve as well, Monday, 12/24.
Great. Now we can do, somebody want to do a motion, go into executive session?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn into executive session to consider the compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walker?
Aye.